Hey, what's up guys? I'm back here at Mission Fitness Center, Alhambra, California, and the focus of today's workout is all about the legs, quads and hamstrings, superset together. This will be one of the most efficient leg workouts you will have ever done. As always, you can go to beastsports.com, check out the full article with videos and images and every set, rep, and everything you need to know about this entire workout. First, let's get started on a little warm-up, get some blood poured into the legs, warm up the ligaments, and then we'll get started on our first working set for the legs. I'll see you over there. So let's get started first with stretch and mobility, which is separate from sort of the warm-up that we'll do before we start our first working set with resistance. I want to get the muscles working. I want to roll out the fascia of the muscle, and you'll see me use a lot of these pull-up bands or resistance bands and various densities of these foam rollers. I actually find my workouts to be that much more beneficial. I can go deeper, I feel the muscles start to open out, and all of that fascia surrounding the muscle bands really gets worked intensely as well. So spend a couple of minutes, whether it's legs or any other muscle group, just doing some light stretching. You're not taking the muscle to its end of its ability, we're just warming it up, especially around joints, ankles, knees, hips. This is where the banded pull-up stuff can really become beneficial. 5 minutes is all we need for this warm-up. I'm gonna start my first two working sets with our first weighted exercise, and then that's the warm-up. We're into the workout. So it's both mental and a physical sense that we're preparing our body and our mind for what's to come later in the workout. I'm gonna head over to our first working set, which will be front squats. So let's go check it out. All right, so the first of our superset combo in this leg workout is gonna consist of front squats and stiff-legged deadlifts. With this, it's all about volume and intensity. So we're not looking at lifting the maximum amount of weight that you might normally lift when performing single set exercises, but rather we're gonna keep the intensity up and really make the muscles work hard without overloading them with a lot of weight. So this particular workout is gonna be great if it's more of an active recovery rather than focusing just on straight sets and a particular muscle, such as quads. So here's how it goes. 3 sets. We're gonna warm up first, superset with 15 repetitions. I'm gonna keep the same weight. So we're pretty much working the opposing muscle groups, the quads and the hamstrings, with near enough the same resistance at the same intensity for the same reps. It's harder than you might think. If you are not familiar with front squats, keep the weight light, even half this or just the bar. Perfect your movement, and you really do feel the quads become very dominant in this movement. Exhale, really exhale as you push up, contracting and squeezing the muscles. And you'll notice up at the top, I pause, I flex my quads, and then set up again, taking that deep breath and lower down. Everything is straight, and I'm really connecting the quads to my breathing and that concentric and eccentric phase of the lift. Immediately after we've done a set here, I'm right over to stiff-legged deadlifts, not even taking 10 or 15 seconds for recovery. Now with this one, you'll notice my hips are going back. So let me break this down. I'm not simply just hinging at the waist, bringing the bar down. That'll put a lot of pressure on my back and my lower back especially. What I'm doing is pushing the hips back as I allow my hips to flex forwards. And with my arms perpendicular to the floor, they're running parallel to my shins. So you'll see I'm not letting the weight go all the way down to the bottom, really stretching out my hamstrings. I'm working then through what I call the target rep, the range of motion that really activates the hamstring muscles without necessarily going through the full range that they might be able to. And by that, I mean lowering the barbell to about 3 or 4 inches below the knee, and then using my hamstrings to pull back up. So our first combo done. We're gonna move on to the back of the gym and bring some explosive energy into our second and third superset combo. So I'll see you over there. Our second superset combo here is going to look a little different than our conventional weight training, bodybuilding type movements over there. Look, we have a press or a compression movement with the squats. We have an isolation, a single joint movement with those stiff-legged deadlifts. Now we're going to start to expand on the function of our legs. Let me explain. Two movements I've got here, a sledge push. I'm gonna get nice and low, a lot of power. We've got some speed, explosiveness in there as well. This is what I term a locomotive movement. So we're traveling, walking lunges, sledge pushes, anything where we're traveling a distance. So remember that one, a locomotive movement. And then over here, step up different heights here. I'm gonna switch up my dumbbells or barbell for kettlebell. So once again, I'm gonna bring the weight to the front of my torso as opposed to having it behind. This is gonna require a lot more torso activation. My abdominals, core is really working on this one. Plus, it's a leg workout, but it's gonna challenge me in a different sense than a conventional leg extension, leg press, squats. Look, this is above my knee line. Your typical step up, my knee is about in line with my hip, a little bit lower sometimes. Relatively easy to step up and force your body weight up. Not with this height. My foot has to come higher, my knee is higher than my hip. There's a lot more activation and effort needed to push me up, not to mention that I've got a couple of 20-kilo kettlebells in my hands. Okay, let's top up on that pre-workout. I'm gonna need it. Let's get to it. We're putting in work for distance, for time with both of these movements. We're using our muscles to travel a distance, and this is where our phosphate creatine system kind of comes into play. Certainly for what I deem as sort of longer than a typical rep range of 10 or 12, which might take 12, 15 seconds. These, we're looking at 20, maybe up to 30 seconds for each of our working sets. So look, we've been talking about different supplements throughout the course of this video series. BCAAs, glutamine, protein, pre-workouts, creatine or creature from Beast. This is what will affect your ATP and adenosine triphosphate, which is really the energy output of the muscle, the mitochondria powerhouse of the cell. So if you are doing workouts of this nature, which I look at as a kind of a hybridization of bodybuilding or weight training and a little bit more athletic training or CrossFit, if you like. So mix the two, see how you respond to both. But looking at these sledge pushes with our kettlebell step ups, different feeling in the legs. It's really hitting me hard with my breathing. It takes longer for me to recover, and part of that is my whole fitness as well, the ability for me to recover and continue working at that same effort level. So two very different styles of training here. Once again, we're gonna have a look at switching up the norm and implementing a different sense of training, adaptive training, that once again will focus firmly on the quads and that split quads and hamstring. So let's get that set up. Let me break down what it is that we're doing here. This, we're gonna do variation of a hamstring curl, except on this one, I'm not curling anything up towards my glutes. I'm gonna leverage my body as the resistance. So what I'll do is I'll hook my heels under here with my knees on the bench. using the pole to stabilize myself, lean in, extending and lengthening the hamstrings, and then really focusing on the hamstrings to contract and pull my body weight back up. So we'll have a look at a few different variations with and without the pole. This one is tricky. You do need a certain level of skill and experience, but the reason I'm using the pole is to allow people to familiarize themselves with this, get used to the movement, and then gradually build up to even using without the pole. Second one, we're gonna pick up this bag, hook it, once again, in front of our body and not over the head. You can see a continuing theme both with the front squats and the step ups, that I'm keeping the weight to the front of me. This means I really have to keep my torso upright, my shoulders back, and focus on my legs and not allow my shoulders and back to start to arch forward. So walking lunges on there. We're gonna do this for time, 30 seconds on each. We're gonna keep count of both reps and minimal rest in between. No more than about 30, 45 seconds at best. All right, let's get to it. There we have it. 3 very different supersets, each one involving the quads and the hamstring. This last one of my favorite as far as being the most effective and unique. So the first exercise is a little bit tricky, but it doesn't need to be. We've got this barbell fixed, secured with plates either side in front of it, because with my heels hooked behind that bar, every time I lean in, I'm actually putting that barbell towards me. And then find something light. A pole or this broomstick is perfect. Typically I have my hand on my waist just to stabilize and keep my whole body fixed and straight. As I lean in, I'm not resisting too much on the pole. I'm basically using it to stop my body from going all the way down, using my hamstrings, contracting them to pull my glutes and therefore my upper body back into that upright position. The other movement, which is nice, maybe as a burner towards the end, let the pole go, fall in, resisting. I'm not just letting my body slam down into the floor. My hamstrings are resisting my body weight falling forwards, but at that last minute, put my hands out, cushion that, push back up, and just enough power to allow my body to come upright, using my hamstrings to control it back up. It's a tricky exercise, but highly effective. So 30 seconds on here, give or take 10, 11, 12 reps. Then we move over with that big bag to the front of my body, elbows up nice and high to support that bag, allow it to sit on the front of the shoulders instead of literally putting you forwards. And you'll notice with these walking lunges, they're short steps. So instead of a typical step, 90-degree angle where both my knees bend at a 90-degree angle, my hips remain in the middle. As you can see here, both knees are about a 90-degree angle. My hips are vertically stacked in the middle. It's a good quad and hamstring exercise. The focus of these short step ones is we really load everything up onto the quads. So as I step forward, it's only about half the step. My hips are now behind that back knee. A lot of resistance on this front quad that I'm then having to push up and make that short step forward. So a lot more quad dominant on that variant, but you feel it, hamstrings and quads. And that wraps up the end of our trio for quads and hamstrings. Look, I want to leave you with this. It's also easy to fall into a habit, and habits are a good thing, but all too often we find movements and exercises that we like, they become too familiar, our body adapts to them, and even though it might be a tough workout, it's not really anything new for the body. The purpose of this workout is to create a little bit more of a shock system for the muscles. We've got a lot of different movements, dynamic, explosive, power, locomotive type movements. We've got everything in here. So some exercises are going to be more challenging than others, but it's those challenging exercises which is where your body's going to allow for the greatest adaptation. And every time we make an adaptation, we make progress, and there comes change. So keep that in mind. Next time you're hitting the gym, be sure to check out bsports.com. Search for me, all of my articles, every workout video, image, full sets, reps, it's all on there. And find me on Instagram, Rob Richards Fitness. Have a look at what I'm doing day to day, in the gym, out the gym. I'll see you back here next week. We'll be looking at more muscle groups. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you're struggling with the most. Maybe we'll try and bring it into one of our videos, and we'll give you a shout out and hopefully give you the answer to your question. So until then, keep training hard, stay focused, stay hungry. I'll see you guys back here soon. Cheers.